Well, I suppose the connection with Japan really began in the middle 50s when John McEwen negotiated the Japan-Australia Trade Treaty. That was a contentious matter at the time. It wasn't all that long after the war. It was only a few years after the peace treaty had been signed, and it was an act of great political courage to pursue a trade treaty. It was a trade treaty enormously to Australia's advantage, and Japan's also, of course, but with events in Europe and the common market, and with the Americans being very difficult about selling things into the United States, we needed new markets. And great foresight was shown in opening the door and establishing that treaty with Japan. And that's been the foundation for an improving relationship ever since. I believe that the free trade arrangement will be well negotiated. Some considerable progress has been made, and that's obviously going to take the relationship into a new phase for the future. But as Prime Minister, the first country I visited overseas was Japan. Australian Prime Ministers have been used to going to New York or to London. I wanted to send a message. I went to Japan, I went to China on my first overseas visit to indicate that this, for the future, was where Australia's major interest must lie. I still have many Japanese friends and connections. I was in Hiroshima just a couple of months ago, and renewed my own relationships with the then Japanese government. The relationship between Australia and Japan now is a relationship between countries, it's a relationship between businesses, and certainly governments have a significant role to play in that. But I do not believe that whether it was former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd or somebody else, I don't believe that it's just a matter of who's Prime Minister. The relationship is much stronger than that, and I'm sure that Julia Gillard will be well attuned to the importance of the relationship with Japan. But Australia needs to understand it's not a question of choosing Japan or China. It's not a question of balancing one against the other. It's a question of establishing the best possible relationship with Japan, but also with China. And these things are not in conflict, and we need to understand that, and Japan needs to understand that.